Hello and welcome to Frugal Homestead. I am coming to you today with a quick video. I received an insert in my utility bill today, and I thought it was very helpful. I know it was helpful to me to have a checklist of items that I need to have set aside in case of an emergency. As you know, we've been experiencing a lot of extreme weather situations, not only here in America, but all around the world. And here in the area where I live, just on a normal cycle of events, this is an area that is subject to hurricanes. And so, therefore, we need to be prepared in case there is some extreme flooding, or in case there's a need for evacuation, or in case of power outages. So I know that my friends all over this country and around the world are subject to maybe different types of natural disasters. It could be earthquakes, it could be floods, it could be volcanic eruptions in some places. There's a lot of natural disasters going on, but this list kind of hits all of the minimal things that you might want to have set aside, ready for you to just grab and go in case of an evacuation, or in case you are having to be sheltered at home. Sanitation and personal hygiene items, of course, TP. There's a toothbrush in that picture there. Of course, something to put on that toothbrush to brush your teeth with. And other hygiene supplies, depending on your age, you want to embellish that list of items, because if you are a young woman, you know what I'm talking about. You will need some additional sanitation items, to some additional feminine hygiene items put away in case of an emergency. And if you are a senior citizen, woman or man, you may need to have some other types of hygiene items, such as grown-up diapers. Don't be ashamed to put that away, because if you need those and you don't have them, it's not going to be pleasant. So make sure you have some put away. The next thing on the list is copies of your personal documents and your medical records, your passport, birth certificates, insurance policies. It's important to be able to access those documents in an emergency. I recommend, to make it travel ready, scan these documents and put it on a thumb drive that you can put in your emergency evacuation bag. Also, another way to do that is to have an extra copy someplace else, like a safe deposit box, so that you can get to those in an emergency. It would be the worst thing ever for you to be the victim of a flood or something that sweep through your home and ruin all of the documents that you need to identify yourself. Just imagine not being able to have something that tells that you are a citizen of this country, or that you who you are, so that you can access things. So that's very important. Make sure you put those documents in a safe place. Another thing on the list here is having your cell phone and charger. Most people always, their cell phone is connected to their body almost, but make sure you have a charger so that you can power up, or you have an extra power bank for your cell phone in case of an emergency. The next thing on the list is extra cash. It says ATMs might not work. I'm going to come back to that one. And the next one is extra fuel, or for your generator and vehicle. I would say at the minimal, you need to keep your vehicle topped off with gas. Once it gets down to half a tank, fill it up again. I know that gas is high right now, but if you can fill it up, fill it up. Why do I say that? Because when there is an emergency, I know you've seen it many, many times, suddenly everyone is at the gas station, and then there's a line going all around the neighborhood, everyone trying to get gas. Well, if you keep your tank filled up, you won't have to stop for gas. You can just get moving quickly. So I recommend that you do that. Now, going back to the extra cash, I don't know about you, but I know that lately I've been having some difficulty with banks. I work with several banks, and I use them for different purposes, for my business and for my personal. And I've had to really fire two banks. Basically, I've had the kind of challenges like my deposit that I made into the bank, they rejected it for no good reason. Especially in this situation, it was a type of deposit that you make by taking a picture and take a picture of the check that you're trying to deposit and front and back, and then they just go ahead and deposit that. Well, I had done that any number of times before, had no problems whatsoever. The check was written by the same company that paid me before, exactly the same company on the same bank the check was drawn on before. And when I deposited that check by making a photo, the bank where I was depositing it rejected it. And they gave the most ridiculous reasons. They said the check was mangled. It was not. They said that I forgot to say on the back that this is a, what do they call it? The mobile deposit. I forget exactly what the wording is. That was printed on the back. And so there was no need to write it. It was already printed on the back. And that's the way I had deposited it many times before with no problem. Suddenly the bank did not want me to do those types of deposits anymore. The funds were in the other bank that I was depositing the check from. So it caused payments to bounce off my account because I had already written checks that were coming in. And it just caused a real bad problem. So keep an eye on your banks. Another issue I had with a different bank was they had a program where you could pay off your credit card, like charges on your credit card. There was a program that they had where you could sign up to that and pay it off in an accelerated way so you could save interest. Well, I paid off those debts in an accelerated way using their program. And after I had already paid off these debts, they were continuing to bill me for them and charge me interest. And I called, I talked to I don't know how many people, and they just, half of them didn't even know about the program, didn't even know that they had a program like that. So it was a problem, and it took me several months to fix it, but they finally fixed it after about 3 or 4 months of me writing letters, calling, talking to a whole lot of people. They finally reversed all of that and gave me my money back and reversed the interest charges off of my card. So that was a problem. And the third problem I've had with the bank lately, most recently, we were unable to transfer money from savings to checking. You couldn't transfer money between accounts, and you couldn't do any online banking. And it caused a real hiccup, a real problem for a lot of people. People were lined up at the bank taking money out of the ATM. They were getting afraid that they wouldn't be able to get to their money. So I recommend that you keep an eye on your bank accounts. Trust only yourself when it comes to that, because, we've trusted the banks a lot and people have gotten hurt a lot. And so back to this list, it says extra cash, ATMs may not work. Hey, that's a real concern. I recommend that you take some money and you stash it somewhere so that in the event of an emergency, you already have that cash available. Because once again, just like people lining up at the gas station to get gas at the last minute, you're going to have people lining up at the ATM trying to get cash also at the last minute. You don't want to be that person. be prepared in advance. Okay, so that's the checklist. I recommend that you take a screenshot of this checklist and use it to just have things put aside and just have this one thing off your list and not to worry about. And I'm going to add some things to this list, but I'll do it in another video, because when I was living in my RV, I learned some things from campers that I think is very valuable for when you are in an emergency situation. It will help you save water. It'll help you stay clean. It's some of the things I'm going to share are a bit old school, but I really believe that they will be helpful.